Good afternoon, and thanks for having us in. We're following developing news this midday. The owners of an unfinished mansion appeared in federal court this morning. They are suing the city of Sioux Falls to stop crews from demolishing their multi-million-dollar home this coming Monday. The home sat unfinished and vacant for years, which led to neighborhood complaints and fines. The city found it unsafe and issued a notice for demolition. This morning, the judge heard from witnesses, including the contractor and the person who assessed the home at more than $2 million. KELOLAND's Tom Hansen is in the courtroom and will bring us details from the hearing later tonight on KELOLAND News. A crash at the Baltic corner sent 2 people to the hospital. 2 pickups collided at the corner of South Dakota 115 and 250th Street just before 6 o'clock this morning. Authorities tell us both drivers were wearing their seatbelts and are expected to be okay. One of the drivers may be charged. A 40-year-old man died in a single vehicle crash on Wednesday morning east of Spearfish. The initial investigation shows the man was driving east on Interstate 90 in a pickup when he lost control, went to the median, and hit a concrete overpass. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities say he was not wearing a seatbelt. The South Dakota Highway Patrol is investigating the crash. Sioux Falls street crews are making progress on the city's snow alert. Here's a look at the snow alert tracker map. The green is where crews have finished plowing, yellow is where they are currently working, and red shows areas that aren't started yet. As crews work, you'll want to be sure to move your car off the street. If you don't, your vehicle will likely be ticketed and towed. Police say that could cost you up to $300 or more. Well, after all that snow, our meteorologists have some good news for the weekend. It's going to warm up a bit, right, Scott?
Yeah, we have to get there. It is for the weekend, not for today. Today, we'll have temperatures in the single digits and teens. Teens will be found across western South Dakota. A couple of scattered flurries, quick hit of light snow also possible for the afternoon, even heading into the early evening hours, but any additional accumulations will stay very, very light. Satellite and radar showing high pressure to our east continues to move to the east. We'll eventually start to see southerly winds for tonight. That will help our temperatures slowly warm during the overnight hours. This is Futurecast over the next 12 hours. You see a couple of scattered flurries or that quick hit of light snow in eastern South Dakota this evening. Again, being flurries and light snow showers, accumulations will stay very light. They'll move to the northeast for the overnight hours. As you see, we're at 3 degrees in Sioux Falls, but 2 below in Brookings and Watertown, 7 below in Aberdeen, 4 below in Huron, 4 below in Pierre, and currently 2 below in Rapid City. We do have southerly winds across western and central South Dakota. We'll eventually start to see that in eastern and southeastern KELOLAND, probably this evening and tonight. But we do have wind chills out there that are in the minus teens and the minus 20s. It's a little improvement from what we had early this morning when we had some of us reporting wind chills in the minus 30s. Temperatures today will stay in the single digits in central and eastern South Dakota. We'll also try to filter in a couple of rays of sunshine. We do have that here and there in parts of north central, northeastern South Dakota, even western KELOLAND with periods of sunshine for the late morning hours extending into the early afternoon. Our temperatures tonight, you see them showing up in the single digits and teens below zero. I think these will get hit early tonight and then slowly warm as we do get closer to sunrise. And look at this, with sunshine tomorrow, temperatures will be warmer, 20s, 30s, and 40s for afternoon highs. I'll have more details on the KELOLAND Live Doppler forecast coming up.
It'll feel like a heat wave. Thank you, Scott. South Dakota voters might not get to decide after all whether they want to let the legislature add a work requirement for people covered by expanded Medicaid eligibility. This morning, the Senate Health and Human Services Committee shot down House Joint Resolution 5004 in a 5-2 vote. That's despite support from the Farm Bureau, the Retailers Association, and even the state Social Services Secretary. KELOLAND's Bob Mercer has a breakdown of the debate in committee that's on our Capitol News Bureau page for you right now. The war in Ukraine is now entering its second year. Today, the United States announced additional measures to help Ukraine as the war-torn country marks a year since the full-scale Russian invasion began. Willie James Inman reports from the White House.
Ukraine held a remembrance ceremony Friday in tribute to all the lives lost since Russia launched a full-scale invasion of the country a year ago. President Volodymyr Zelensky called the year, quote, the longest day of our lives. Afterwards, he and Poland's prime minister visited wounded soldiers in a military hospital.
To commemorate the one-year mark since the invasion began, the Biden administration announced additional measures to help Ukraine, including more security assistance and new sanctions.
The U.S. is committing $2 billion for ammunition and high-tech drones. And together with its G7 allies, it unveiled a new round of sanctions against 200 individuals and entities, including a dozen Russian financial institutions that support Russia's war effort.
We are seeking to strengthen sanctions and to make sure that we address violations of sanctions.
On Friday, China urged the end of sanctions against Russia and called for a ceasefire.
So we are concerned.
On CBS Mornings, Secretary of State Antony Blinken reacted to reports that China may provide lethal military aid to Russia.
China's trying to have it both ways. They're trying to present themselves as neutral and a party for peace, while at the same time aiding and abetting Russia's war effort.
In show of support for Ukraine, yellow and blue lights lit the Eiffel Tower in Paris and the Sydney Opera House in Australia. Willie James Inman, CBS News, the White House.
The U.S. is also set to raise tariffs on certain Russian products imported into the U.S., including more than 100 Russian metals, minerals, and chemical products. Meanwhile, protesters around the world are calling on Russia to stop the conflict. Demonstrators in Australia shouted, "Help Ukraine win," as they marched through the streets. In Germany, activists dump a destroyed Russian tank outside Moscow's embassy in Berlin to show support for Ukraine. In London, protesters painted a Ukrainian flag on the road leading to the Russian embassy. Coming up later today on KELOLAND News, our Perry Groten will talk with Ukrainians living in Sioux Falls about the one-year anniversary.